So, you know these runs where everything just goes right. You're using your favorite build, you keep getting every single drop you want, and then the cherry on top, this happens. Today, I want to show you what I think to be one of my best Guardian runs ever. First of all, my build. By far, this is the most well-rounded combo that I have found for myself. Must note that this version is intended for playing solo, and for multiplayer you'll certainly want to replace some of these effects. I rely a lot on Witch's Brooch, mainly thanks to its amazing successful Guts Send Out Shockwaves effect. If you're not familiar with it, when you have this on, your special blocks will now deal both physical and poise damage around you whenever you block a hit. This is the single, objectively best relic effect for Guardian. Being able to turn your defense into offense is something very natural to him. As I've just said, these shockwaves also deal poise damage, which leads us to the next relic, Dark Knight of the Baron. If we're gonna break stances a lot, and we are, thanks to shockwaves and gut counters, then might as well capitalize on critical damage. And there's no better contestant for this role than Dark Knight of the Baron, which adds up roughly 38% damage from crits for the cost of only one relic slot. However, this strategy only works consistently in solos, when you're basically the only one who can take the riposte. The most universal guaranteed replacement that I can think of from the top of my head would be the Stone Stake, which has a very nice effect of increasing your character skill duration, or Knight of the Champion, which boosts your gut counters based on max HP. This slot in the on is white, meaning that you can put here any relic that you want. The last piece I'm using in this run is the yellow FGL relic, but generally this slot is also flexible. Here are some of my favorite replacements, both guaranteed and rolled. Dark Knight of the Beast is surprisingly effective on Guardian due to two things. 1. The stamina recovery effect occurs on each individual hit of the charged Halberd gut counter, giving you much more value than it seems at the first glance. 2. Taking damage improves attack power happens when you actually take damage, not block it off completely, which looks counterintuitive for Guardian. But the amount of attacks that have elemental follow-ups or some other bullshit and end up doing some cheap damage through the shield is astonishing. You can safely keep up this effect on Guardian very often. And mind you, it's a solid 15% damage buff. I definitely miss the increased character skill duration, and especially gut counter is given a boost based on current HP effect in this build, but sadly there's only 3 relic slots for all the good stuff you can put in them. Now, back to the actual run. I've already hit the first fort, but sadly won't get one more Stonesuit key from it. I already have 2 though, because my starting camp had caravans, which guarantees you 1 more key from the start. From here I could have gone a bit down to the first jail and a field boss, but decided to play it safe. You see, when you're hitting this spot on the map, it generally makes sense to clear the field boss first due to one reason. They can come up to you while you're doing the jail and mess everything up. This is not a situation in which I want to find myself as a level 3 Guardian. But why not do the field boss first then, like I've said? Once again, I'm a level 3 Guardian. Even if that boss was something relatively easy, it would still take me a whole lot of time to kill them. And if it is a formidable boss, like say Tree Sentinel, then I'm completely cooked without a chance. And so, to avoid a lose-lose situation, I decided to go with the nearest cathedral instead. As a pleasant bonus, it's a holy cathedral, and I need myself a holy weapon, cause I'm fighting Heolstor at the end of the run. From there, I will already have a slightly more decent level, and hopefully a slightly more decent weapon. It will then be convenient to take on the jail a bit to the north, where nobody else would bother me. From there it can then be a mine, but let's not get ahead too much. Enjoy the run, and I'll join you back with the voice after we get that first jail. With the first ever jail done, I now have two options. One is to go into the mine to upgrade my weapon, which is quite decent by the way, it's a holy halberd, just what I need. The second one is to check who's the field boss a little bit to the west and maybe fight them if I feel like it. But first of all, I wanted to kill those demi-humans to get a little bit more runes and upgrade to level 6. Between the two options I had, I chose to fight the boss, which may have been questionable due to who turned out to be this boss. And I've just been over here talking about skipping hard bosses early. The thing about Guardian and Bellbearing Hunter is that this fight is extremely methodical. There's basically zero RNG. You block, you guard counter until he dies. And with enough confidence, you may choose to fight him even on lower levels. Mind the amount of time that it takes you though, because our damage still kinda sucks. Well, with these rewards, I believe taking this fight was 100% worth it. Both the halberd and the spear are insanely good choices. They are both holy, that's what I need against Night Aspect. The spear had our most favorable passive, the crit bonus, but there is a problem. The spear's guard counter will never reach Heolstor. At least that's how it went for me in previous runs. Halberd's charge guard counters, on the other hand, covered just enough distance to reliably punish him in almost every damage window. So I decided to sacrifice the crit bonus in favor of the halberd's reach. If I could, I'd definitely take both of them. Well, I no longer need the smithing stone, so with the remaining time that I have, I want to fight as much stuff as I can. Starting with the Misbegotten, then I can jump up to the jail, then there is a field boss above the mine to the west. With level 7 and one of my best potential halberds in hands, I now want to snowball all the advantage that the Bellbearing Hunter gave us. I took the improved dodging here, but I'm pretty sure that one-eyed shield would have been the better choice. Higher level shields mean better blocks, and that's something you absolutely should remember while playing Guardian. One-eyed shield also had an item discovery passive which directly affects the rarity of the rewards. So yeah. The only problem that might come with picking up new shields is that their weapon skill would take priority when you're one-handing the main weapon. But it is only relevant when you actually use your main weapon's L2 skill, which was not the case for me in this run. Well, like I've said, in this run good rewards are everywhere. It's the second time when I want to pick both options at the same time. Guardian is one of the best characters for all the while walking effects, cause they trigger non-stop for as long as you hold your special blocks. But between these two I obviously pick the get counter thing. Well, for day 2 I have the entire Noklateo ahead of me. I will start with killing Loretta and then go inside to fish for some legendaries. It sucks that there are no legendary halberds in the game, so the pool of what we can actually use is somewhat limited. Mainly it's about colossal weapons, cause Guardian makes amazing use of them as well. And well, this plan went even better than I expected it to. Commander's Standard is another potential best-in-slot halberd, thanks to it being purely physical in its weapon skill Rallying Standard, which is a goated aura buff. Speaking of goats, Libra decided that this run should be accelerated even further with his curse. Well, with breaking his curse, to be exact. In case you didn't know, whenever you solve Libra's invasion by either paying him runes or killing him, you get Demon's Plating buff, which boosts your attack power based on the amount of runes that you currently hold. One thing to note is that basically always it's better to pay him the runes. This will then allow you to choose one of his deals, but now they are not nearly as harmful as they could be if you met him just in the open world. In fact, these are simply rewards, not requiring you to do anything in return. One of these deals is I want to get more runes, which gets you a symbol of avarice, a talisman that very slowly eats away your HP, but gives a huge rune acquisition buff and item discovery in return. It synergizes perfectly well with the Demon's Plating buff, which, like I've said, boosts your damage based on the runes you currently hold. And one more funny thing is that after all these traits, you can still attack and kill him, and get another talisman as a reward. I decided to skip this step in this run, but just know that it is possible. Well, the hard part is to find the true balance between your levels and the runes you hold to increase the buff's effectiveness. Cause at many points, it is likely better for you to hold off your runes instead of leveling up to maximize the damage bonus that you're getting. There are many nuances to that, like, really. Demon's Plating numbers are not linear, and at different times community believed in different ways to balance out the levels and the runes. At the time of recording this video, I was convinced that leveling up to 13 and then holding off to the rest of the runes you had was optimal. Nowadays, from what I know, the general rule of thumb is to get level 10 and reach the threshold of 900,000 runes, and level up to 11, 12 and so on, only if the number of runes after the level up will not get lower than 900k. If you have a more extensive knowledge about the numbers behind the Demon's Plating buff, or just want to share some advice about balancing it out, please do so in the comments. No matter how much I play this game and how much I learn, there will always be something new to find out. Anyways, now I want to get as many runes as possible more than ever, ideally clearing all the bosses that Noklateo can offer me, but I doubt it to be possible, so I'll start with the chunkiest ones, them being Estelle and Dragon King Soldier. And if you think that Demon's Plating is the last good thing that happened here, well, it's not. My luck in this run has yet to run out. Grafted Blade Greatsword, the weapon that will permanently boost your stats for every kill that you get. The only condition is to carry it in your hands, no matter main hand or offhand. All the stacks of this weapon's passive are equal, meaning that killing a large boss or a random trash mob will get you the same benefit. Well, it kinda sucks that we got it basically at the end of the run, and there is not much time left to gather a lot of stacks. But let's not forget that I also have Demon's Plating that gives me damage for runes. And thus, the question: do I still mainly go for the bosses, cause they will drop more runes, or do I go for the trash mobs who give obviously less runes for the exchange of grafted stacks? The answer is, I don't know. I only know that I want to kill two birds with one stone and it backfired on me hard. The optimal play in this situation is to, okay, actually kill the Dragon King and then start to run through all the trash mobs throughout Noklateo. But I decided to be greedy and after killing Dragon King, go for the Flying Dragon just outside of Noklateo. I can describe the thought process behind it. It's a big boss means big runes mean big damage. What I haven't thought of is that 1. Even if I manage to kill the Flying Dragon, by killing small mobs I get both the stacks and the runes at the same time. Obviously less runes, but it still is something, and more or less I benefit both the major buffs that I'm working for. And 2. This f***er is called Flying Dragon for a f***ing reason. These guys are one of the most unpredictable field bosses in this whole game. Good luck chasing it down when it flies on top of some random hill and starts spitting fire from there non-stop. This is too much of an RNG boss to fight with so little time left and so much on the stake. And by my tone of voice, I think you can guess just what happened when I got there. Please, if you ever find yourself in the same situation that I found myself in here, don't be like this. Go kill some trash mobs. Then, I don't know, go kill a headless troll, a black knife assassin, not the f***ing dragon. Well, at the end of the day, I can still confidently call this my best Guardian run yet, even despite this major slip-up. I think it means that there is an even better run that awaits me in the future. I choose to look at this situation like that. I could climb up there, but for some reason I was pretty sure that he would just reappear at the bottom, like bosses do when they get too far, or just fly down. On top of that, the zone started closing in, and I already was nervous enough and not wanting to suddenly lose such a great run, I called it a day. Now, with all the heat behind, let's think of the plan for Heolstor. No matter how great the Grafted greatsword is, I'll stick to the Holy Halberd. 1. It's holy. 2. Like I've said before, it can get hard to reach Heolstor with get counters with anything that is not a halberd. I'm also not buying anything from the merchant to preserve the runes, and as for the buff routine, there is an interesting nuance. Oath of Vengeance, the weapon skill of the Grafted Blade Greatsword that can increase your stats even further for some time, counts as a unique buff. The thing about unique buffs is that they stack with anything. Body buffs, other unique buffs, and aura buffs, including, of course, the rallying standard of our commander's standard. This was my craziest Guardian run I've done yet, and to think that it can theoretically get even better. I hope you like this run, please like, subscribe and write a comment, all these things help my channel grow very much. GG and thank you for watching.